Man, this volume was, as expected, a masterpiece. It was just incredible. The conclusion, the fights, the reveals, absolute cinema, man. And Amon's performance this volume was out of this world. And Klein's cat and mouse game with him was so fun and satisfying to see because we see him struggle for like the first time in such a long time. There were more fights in this volume than in every other volume combined, and the reveals were even more shocking than everything we have ever read so far. Which is also why this volume is my favorite. And this video is going to be a long one, so let's just get straight into it. We start off the volume with Amon instantly figuring out that Klein is the fool, and the two moving to the Forsaken Land of the Gods, with Klein being completely helpless for the first time in the series. I don't think we have ever had a moment in Lord of the Mysteries where Klein was as helpless as he was in the beginning of this volume. This whole arc just solidified how terrifying Amon can really be. Like, he fooled Klein in this volume so many times, it's genuinely crazy. Their little escape game in the Forsaken Lands of the Gods was really interesting to read because of just how many layers of complexity the game between the two really had. Firstly, Klein's and Amon's goal was for Klein to digest the Scholar of Yore potion, and so Amon fed him information without Klein realizing this is exactly what he wants. And it's the whole reason Amon suggested this whole idea. And meanwhile, Klein was just laying out clues for the Evernight Goddess and actively trying to summon Zarathul. Like, most of these escape attempts were incredibly well thought out, especially with him finally summoning Zarathul. In that fight, Amon really showed the power which isn't just stealing stuff, and just started to manipulate time, which is just insane. And then there was the moment where the chief asked Mr. Fool for blessings, and him just saying, that chief just wants to get Mr. Fool's blessing? Well, Mr. Fool also needs some blessings right now. I thought that was hilarious when I read it. I also won't even mention the crazy abundance of plot reveals we got, but the fact that the second creator just popped out his rib and created one of the strongest angels ever was incredibly interesting to me. And then if this whole arc in the Forsaken Land of the Gods wasn't amazing enough, the Chernobyl reveal was just the icing on the cake, man. Because we finally know for sure that the second creator is from modern day Earth, which is crazy. And of course, this also made Klein realize that the world of Lord of the Mysteries was Earth with a 100% certainty. I always thought it was obvious for some reason. Like, I don't even remember why I was almost certain after the 4th volume that it's Earth. So I will probably have to rewatch my own videos for that because I really don't remember when I started realizing that this was Earth. I think it was at the Cocoon reveal, but I'm not really sure. Because I'm pretty sure there were like a lot of hints. Especially like when he escaped Zarathul into like, I think it was Zero of Epic, I don't know. But anyways, it was definitely one of the most hyped moments in the series. And in fact, Amon's last play was so ingenious. Even Klein glazed him for doing that. It was so tough, he just said, "Your destiny shall be yours and Sophia Castle shall be mine." His plan only had a tiny flaw, which is that Klein laid out clues for the Evernight Goddess, and she then stopped Amon from becoming the new owner of Sophia Castle. This was absolutely amazing, and the Tarot meeting afterwards was even better. Firstly, there was them glazing Klein and the Fool because of them stopping George III's ritual, and then Klein dropped another bombshell, which is him being pursued by Amon, and even had a really good excuse for it. I seriously can't get enough of the newer Tarot meetings. They're always meaningful, with the later volumes pacing being amazing. And Amon's avatars are so goofy, like I love all of them. They were just playing cards and torturing Creeping Hunger, like Creeping Hunger does not deserve this. He's just a lower grade sealed artifact. And one of the things that will never get old in this series was Klein using Leodoros' true name like a magic spell. Like, I mean, at this point, it's not Amon that's the blasphemer, it's Klein. Like, Amon even said, "I respect the gods." Well, I don't even think Klein has ever heard of the word respect. Like, even the angel working with the true creator didn't expect Klein to pull this. And then the best part was when he approached the Church of Storm, only for Leodoro to just smite him, and afterwards Klein just had the audacity of saying that Leodoro was rude. Like, bro, have a little bit of self-awareness. Like, at this point, Leodoro is gonna start hunting Klein with Amon. And then the Hermit, Justice, and Force took care of Botis with a grade 0 sealed artifact all by themselves, which is a pretty crazy feat considering Force isn't even a saint yet. Also, it's crazy how in this volume alone, so much more happened than in the usual volume, even though it's technically shorter in length. It really just shows how Cuttlefish improved his previous slow pacing. and really just didn't give Klein a break. Like, he was constantly moving, constantly trying to get away from Amon and to just get the sequence 2 and sequence 1 characteristic, you know? And the fact that Amon set a trap for Pallas for the last 1000 years is crazy to me. No one is as dedicated to ascending to sequence 0 and getting stronger than Amon at this point. And it's surprising Leonard could survive for so long, considering he had the key to Amon's ascension to godhood in his body. Also, the ritual for sequence 0 being stealing someone's apotheosis ritual fits Amon so goddamn perfectly, and I'm super excited to see him becoming sequence 0. And how Amon fooled Klein in Chernobyl was a masterclass acting from Amon. Like, even I was fooled by his acting. It's crazy how the whole ass Chaos Sea spawned in Chernobyl of all places, and the Sun God, being the chat he is, just walked in and walked out of it in the second epic alive. And the way Amon slided that information about the cosmos so nonchalantly was crazy. Like, even I didn't expect him to pull such a move. And then the moon suddenly got angry and turned white, because that is just one of the least crazy things to happen in this series. Of course, the moon can change color, why wouldn't it? I also like that how incredible the Fool is being spread everywhere slowly. First in the Abraham family and now in the Forsaken Land of the Gods too. And for the love of God, do not make Frank Lee sequence 4. I swear, we are all doomed if he becomes a demigod, because the fuck you mean you're gonna give plants souls? No! Why would you do that? I don't want the trees to talk to me. Like, if he becomes an angel, he's going to be just as feared as kings of angels. At this point, he's gonna be an emperor of angels because everyone is scared of him. Even Adam can't predict what he's gonna do. I also love just how much the Turret Club members have grown, like in extremely fast speeds. They are almost all demigods except like Forrest, Theo and Leonard and Emlyn. But despite Emlyn not being a demigod, his performance during the fight against the Shaman King was immaculate. This whole fight against the Shaman King was one of the best fights in the series, because of it basically consisting of two different fights. One being Emlyn carrying and destroying a demigod by spamming unshadowed spears and summoning the moon, which is one of the most ridiculous things we saw a Sequence 5 Beyonder ever do. Like, Emlyn's performance here is better than Klein's in Volume 3, where he was escaping Abomination Sua. Out of everyone in the Turret Club, he deserves being Sequence 4 the most, honestly. And then on the other side, Klein is just summoning all of his angel level friends like their Mahoraga, and throwing them at Abomination Sua, who finally has a rematch with my boy Klein. But Klein, being the aura farmer he is, just bows and leaves after the Shaman King died, probably making the true creator hate him even more. Like, I love fights in this volume, and just high tier fights in general so much, because in this volume alone I feel like there are more fights than in every volume combined. I also really liked how they showed the food shortages and consequences of the war, and the author not forgetting about the war considering everything that's going on. Like, the author forgot that a certain character existed, actually talking about Xio, please Cuddlefish. Use Xio at least in one of the missions of the Turret Club, or just have her say something. Please, just 1 or 2 lines of dialogue would be enough. By the end of the series, even Adam is going to have more screen time than her. And then Klein was just out there trolling the God of Wishes. Like, dude started praying to everyone, like he was sending out party invites to a ranked match against the God of Wishes, and the fight was just so amazing. Like, I love how at the end the God of Wishes learned from Klein and started using Leodoro too at the end, and then this being, which was once feared and so terrifyingly elusive and smart, even Amon couldn't find him, ran away in fear from Klein, which was absolutely crazy to me. And then we get the mention of mysteries again, which makes me think what the deeper meaning behind this is. This might just be a nickname for the owner of Zephrya Castle, or just something to do with the Lord of the Mysteries, whoever that is. And then we get the reveal that the true creator is the degenerated body of the creator, which just makes so much sense. And then finally, at the climax of the arc, we get to the Giant King's court. The fight between Lovia, Klein, Derek and the Chief and Saspier's minions was insane. How Klein and Shadow were moving in that fight looked absolutely crazy to me in my head. And then Enuni just got so much aura with those dark ass wings while he was just fighting off literally everyone. And I like how Enuni is like the only marionette ever getting like abused by all the kings of angels. And then the ending. The ending needed me to seriously sit back at the end and just take everything in. First, Dark Angel Sasori revealed the greatest bombshells and reveals in the series. Mainly that the primordial creator just has the potential to awaken in everyone. The battle was amazing. The way Climb pulled him into a dream and they both pulled out their Sephiroths on each other was so fire. It was the final thing they had to do to finally make the Forsaken Land of the Gods forsaken no longer. First, Lovia dies saying the words she always wanted to say. I never betrayed the City of Silver. And she died for what she believed in. I always thought she was evil, so this moment hit me really hard. And then the aftermath was absolutely amazing. I can't believe how spectacular their performance is against the evil spirit that is basically the strongest king of angels owning a Sephiroth. Like, those MFs were sequence 4 and 3s. Even though Sasori is weakened, it still shouldn't be this easy. They still shouldn't have succeeded. Like, this is some Adam tomfoolery, I don't care what you say. But I'm glad the chief was able to see the light at the end. I'd be really pissed if he hadn't, but he did together. With Derek. It was a really bittersweet moment, with the final words of the volume being, light was the meaning to everything. The City of Silver has been chasing after this light, and fighting for it for millennia. And now, this fight was finally over. It was a perfect conclusion. It was absolutely perfect. The City of Silver finally saw the light of the world, and in a way, the Fool was also that light. The residents of the Forgotten Land of the Gods were light seekers, and the Fool, in the end, gave them that light. This was probably the most beautiful and poetic ending to all the volumes. Actually, now that I think about it, Volume 3's ending was also extremely well written, but still, I'm glad this is how the Chief's character concludes. But that aside, what is going on in Backlund? It turns out that Lilith is the Mother Earth, which is super poetic considering Emlyn is part of the church, and then the Evernight Goddess descends holding the fucking moon in a sick ass scythe? What the hell? And then some other deity starts fighting against her and dies because of Lilith's betrayal? And then Adam consuming the Sequence 0 potion was so tough. Like, now he's gonna be absolutely unstoppable. As a king of angels, he was already the closest thing to a god. Like, next volume is going to be absolutely insane. This was my favorite volume by far, and I really thank you for watching, because if you've watched this far, it probably means you're all as passionate about the series as I am. So subscribe if you want to see me talk about the rest of the volumes.